Okay, so maybe I will give you a small intro about the first painting that we're gonna do in those series. The whole concept behind this painting, it's a very small proof of concept, like a smaller version of what we're trying to do. I'll try to zoom it so you can actually see it. Is this painting here? It's it's actually an energy that surrounds us, that is like a animated energy behind all the living and not living things. It's a form of me expressing that everything flows through everything. Fucking hell, one more time. Okay, so I figured out that makes the most sense is to give you introduction of to what I actually gonna paint and when I'm painting it. This is a small concept here. Probably you're gonna see it right. Let me show you here. It's this one I'm pointing to. So this is a small painting. You say like, what the hell is it? This is an abstract painting of energy. So this painting will belong to the larger series of paintings that I want to do. And the idea behind that I want to express energy that surrounds us. Energy is behind all the living and non-living beings. It's a form of presence that surrounds us and flows through us. And through that understanding of that energy and force, I wanted to say that we are connected to much more larger concept than just ourselves. So the energy that I'm trying to portray that flows, it's supposed to remind us that we are all together connected through networks of energy. All right, so I think what makes sense first is to find the colors for this painting. So let's go for mixing. What the hell? Okay, so we first start with some yellow. Oh, by the way, I didn't say that, but I'm working with acrylic paint because it dries way faster, Sometimes it is crucial that we get a fast drying paint because we want to make changes really fast and every layer really matters while you're doing it, because some paint is often mixing with others under it, especially when it comes to the oil painting. I came from oil painting background because I like the idea on the larger surfaces that you can come back and change something. Also, it depends on what you paint, if you paint something more detailed, but for abstract paintings, you often want to work quick and fast. I would like to say dirty, but it's not often as dirty as I would like it to be. Okay. I think this is good. What I'm trying to achieve is to find an underpainting tone for my painting. So I'm trying to go with some stinch, like maybe stinch is wrong word, but tester of a delicate yellow underpaint. I'm not sure what tone it's gonna be, but I think I'm gonna go with something slightly neutral. So something connected with a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow, going together. Okay, we get something very good. Remember that you can always change and add more paint. if you're not happy with it. I'm trying to just get something to get started. Okay, let's do it. Oh my god, guys, I'm so happy. It was like ages since last time I starting to do it. So this is a big thing for me. Excitement is through the roof. We fucking gonna nail it. Let's go. Oh, perfect choice. It worked out. Okay, perfect. Sometimes when you buy cheaper non-professional quote-to-quote brushes, you get this hair on the painting. I personally really like them because I like the idea of industrial kind of way of looking at the paintings, that the paintings are not paintings and paint tools, and results of it doesn't need to be really expensive. I have a friend who's a painter, and he actually visits me sometimes, and when he comes, he doesn't invest in the best paint, and I think this is a really good idea of removing creative blocks, and also learning with very small amount of the tools and low quality tools that your creativity is what limits you, not the quality of your paint. However, it's a conundrum because sometimes having good quality of vibrant color is totally changing the gameplay. So I guess know when to use tools for which situation. Now guys, this is like slightly too slow, so I'm gonna switch to the bigger brush. Problem of using too many brushes is that then you need to clean them. Oh shit. That's working too fast. I don't care. We're gonna nail it. Gonna nail it. We're gonna mix directly on the painting. Perfect. So, why I choose this color, you may ask. I chose this color scheme. I have it even here. As much as like it's hard to talk about those things without sounding sometimes off-putting, but I am into pursuing of the self-realization and to challenge the status of who we are, and especially of who I am, because for me it's about deconstructing my personality in order to understand that I am not Michal. So enlightenment, in the form of the sense, this realization, for me at least, that you are part of a bigger picture and there's never finish, because we are part of moving energy. And yellow color is a part of kind of energy that stands for enlightenment. I'm big on color theory. Not necessarily theory like what colors go with which colors, because that is important. I'm not saying no to that. But the theory of feelings and the theory of relationship between us and colors. The only problem with this one that we're getting is like much more sandy color, and I wanted to hit a little bit more greenish tone. I have this amazing neonic paint that I bought and I'm fucking excited to use it, but right now I actually try to use it to add that stench of the green in order to remove that burnt sienna tone, which is like this kind of orangey color. But I'm not gonna get too to fixate it on it, because the idea behind the painting is you can always add the next layer, and after that layer you can get another layer. You might also think like, hey Michal, why did you get this frame here like in the center? Is it because of the composition? Not entirely only composition. My plan for those paintings is too that you can later frame them on the wood, stretch them, so you can enjoy it hanged on the wall. I haven't tried yet wooden panels, and I don't want to, but I like the canvas. I like the texture of it. I like the way how the canvas pops from the... Okay, so we have a darker tone. So what we can do right now is to work with we have a medium tone. We can work with the darker and lighter colors. And the whole idea behind my concept here is to smudge it a little bit. Is to give it a sense of like almost like small particles. Like if you have a sand and there's a wind and just takes some of the sands in the air and gently touches the tops of those beautiful mountains, sound mountains, hills, dunes. Doesn't really matter, but what matters is the feeling, you know, that approach. It's almost like godlike sensation, and I want to have like this dancing wind. Okie dokie. We have that. We'll need lighter tones, and for lighter tones we can go two ways. We can add white, or we can mix other tones, which frankly it's also an option to get a lighter tone with mixing the other colors, but we don't have a time for it. I'm already like big inside of it. Time-wise spectrum of how I want it to fit. You will also notice that I speak weirdly sometimes. My choice of the words are predominantly created in order to help me explain my own brain, not necessarily to communicate with other people. Oh, fucking hell. That's why I paint. God damn it, I'm so happy I'm doing it. Let's go. Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit with a neonic, a little bit of the yellow. Actually, let me move it here so I can see what I'm doing more. Over here. Yeah, this is way better. This is way better. Yeah. Sand. I will have a tinge of drip of that neonic green. I have this second compartment here with a smaller tube, so I can access to them much more easily. Oh, that's what happens, guys, when you are a little bit too cocky with your color choices. I mean, with your amounts of the paint. It happens. So in order to break it, you need to add more and more. Sometimes you need to take that paint and add it to the other compartment from here to here. So you have actually more freedom to mix it with the new fresh colors. Oh my god, this is beautiful, like neonic. I want that burned out. Oh, yes. Okay, this will be good. Let me see my reference. Okay, so what I'm trying to do with my reference is to find places in which where that energy gonna flow. Okay, this very good. We'll try to add the flow here. It's not as random as it seems, you know. brain can do way more calculation than an AI. So often it is that seems so random, those moves, but our brain knows where to go. It is inherent intuition to know when to run and when to stay. This is how I interpret the process of the painting too, is to knowing when to. Everybody's recording? Yeah, fucking wonderful. Is to know when to stop. That's actually the very hard one for someone who just starting. Oh, yes, I have feeling towards those lines. Yeah. It's not gonna be perfectly like my reference. My reference was just a general push into certain direction, but the exact shapes are often happen, especially when it comes to abstract painting, in the process of making a new painting. I mean, is painting new when you already made a concept of it? Good question. I would say, yeah, because the size creates different impression, as I said in the intro before. I wonder if those colors actually you can see them well. You cannot see them well, maybe you can. I don't know. We're gonna try. If this is gonna be a failure regarding production setup, although as you can see, I have some better equipment than only my phone. Okay, we're gonna adapt. God, I love it. I love painting. It's the time where I am myself. Me and the painting. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna add way more lighter tones to it in order to give it a slightly more definition. You can say like so it pops more, so you can follow with your senses the movement of those lines. It's really tricky sometimes. I like the larger paintings because of that, because you can direct the stroke of the brush more in terms of leave the strokes of the thick paint with your tool. Once you are changing the size, you need to change to smaller tools, but when you want to work faster, you need to sacrifice certain impressionistic values. Again, that's subjective, is sacrifice, or it's rather the process of making something unique that you will never do in a larger painting. I love it. I love conundrum of life. Conundrum, conundrum. All I see is conundrum. Sometimes I like to actually not give a shit that this is not exactly what I use in other colors in terms of mixing the paint, because I know what I'm trying to achieve is to get outside from this burnt sienna color and hit more more kind of gold tones, but not like cheap gold, rather the don't know how to explain it, like a darker, greener tone of gold that is slightly less obvious, but nevertheless, it hits the spectrum of those colors. Much better. You know what? I think there's too much reflection coming from this light, so let me try to... Yeah, that's now fucking too dark. I actually need to add a totally different filter on this camera in order to remove those reflections so you can guys see way more what I'm doing. Fucking gorgeous. I'm really happy that I decided to go with this small size that offers me a faster way of working. You know what? I need like a clip. I don't have it right now, but we'll have it in future. I'm adding purposefully more contrast to painting by adding lighter colors to give it even a slightly more, slightly more definition. It's literally a process of sacrificing sometimes good parts of the painting in order to give a life to other parts of it. That's why sometimes when you make a painting, especially like if you have a background in art school, like I have, that some of the teachers and professors or even your peers gonna walk up to you and say, "Oh, I love this part of the painting." And it's funny because you shouldn't necessarily always get upset that people don't appreciate your painting as a whole, which I did. Even for not a long time ago, I did have that upsetness that I worked so hard on something, but rather appreciate people staring and finding those moments for themselves, because it's like almost like in life, there's not everything gonna work out, or not everything gonna be as beautiful as anybody other said it will be. That's something that we need to learn how to live with, is to the fact that the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Once the painting is finished, it's not yours anymore, it's ours. It's the story that was passed on. How sometimes when you have stories next to the fire, And some people just express their memory of something, the parts that they remember the most. And sometimes actually that's where the gems are. And it's surprising sometimes where people find the gem. Jam! That song. Okay, I kind of like to make it less saturated, you know? But I don't want to also start overpainting the painting, so we're gonna let it be for a moment. Maybe gonna we're gonna need a different color, which is black. I have the whole stash of paint there. I'm so prepared. So for blacks, you don't want to necessarily mix. This is gonna be a tricky one because once you add black to the gameplay, you make all the brush and colors dirty. So it's a very risky moment, but not impossible moment. Just need to. That's what you do sometimes to not get your paint dirty. You just add to the tone like that. The spatula, a tint of the color that you want to mix it in, not tapping the dirty brush into your healthy colors, if I might say. Okay, this is where we add. So that's great, right? We're talking about slight tones of the green. And now, oh yes, yes. So you see what's happening, guys? Just by adding black to the color, you can dirty it up, and you were like, what the fuck, Michal? You're making a different marks on the painting. Is there a logic to it? And I say to you that there is. Not every time our move with our tool and brush needs to be a smooth one. Not everything is a Japanese painting, you know? Although I shouldn't say that because sorry, sometimes the moves can be also really wild in particular. So we want to try to break the pattern. Break the patterns of smudges because we are not interested only in the beauty, but also in hidden flaw that is disruptive for some, for other more beautiful. Sorry, not elegant is the word. Not everything what I'm doing have to be elegant. There needs to be it needs to come from the place that is authentic and real. Only then, if it becomes an elegant, the painting is honest. And honesty is the king, in my opinion, or queen, or other important things that matter to you, or that to society. Jesus, you got so political so fast while trying to get abstraction into context. Okay. Let me see. Okay. So we're getting there, definitely. I'm actually even gonna be more critical. So big part of the painting is to not being afraid, right? And when I say beginning, there's the darkness that can Where there's light, there could be also darkness. To fuck up is to be willing to try. Very good. We can see that I'm not using so much water because acrylic paint has a water in itself quite often. And that is sometimes just enough to keep you going. Water. I need some water. Okay, you see that that orange color that we used to have? How is this appearing? Now let's destroy things a little bit more, and we're doing it by smudging paint with a paper. A paper. So this will allow us to go back and touch up those moves that we had before. And those tabs of the paint that we added before starting to become a place of source of the paint that can travel around the painting. I'm feeling like I'm making tutorial. It's not tutorial really, honestly. It's just a way for me to get out of my head sometimes and maybe to make this process a little bit less lonely and more fun. I like to make myself laugh sometimes. Mr. Caveman. Okay. So, my sketch was a little bit more see, those parts are not so important in the frame because the fold of the canvas and the stretcher bars will take it away. So I'm focusing primarily on this area. That's visual gold. Oh. Okay. Super cool. People are afraid of that green color. So they think that is something that goes off sometimes, reminds them that color. For me, it's a way to break the tube colors, you know? Like, you don't want always to speak different brush, speak the same pure colors that you get from a tube. You want to sometimes give it a slight edge. Slight edge against the against what is familiar. Energy, motivating energy. Sometimes you can also work, you don't always need to work on the dry painting, you know? Sorry, not on the wet painting. Sometimes the whole idea of the fact that the paint already dried a little bit gives you a different opportunity to play with the texture of it. It smudges differently, moves on the canvas. Funny that paint can move on the canvas. It's as real as what I want to say about everything. That's a mixture, time, space, color, interpretation. Oh shit, battery died. Ladies and gentlemen, battery died of my light. I'm prepared, hopefully. Charging. You every time when you're doing something live, you need to be aware that things can go wrong. I mean, live. Maybe it's not the right word, but when you're recording something for a longer time. Let me see how long we are in the process. 35 minutes. That's not too bad. I have, because I'm so bad in keeping my time, right? I have this thing that I bought that actually measures the timing. 60 minutes it's supposed to be. My canvas is going dark, but it's interesting that you can see the colors changing. I'm trying to figure out what to do in order to lighten it up. Give me a second. I need to improvise. Yeah. Might have a shadow. It's not too bad. It's mixed a little bit the tint of the color. You have to excuse me because I didn't know that this cannot work while it's connected with the cable. But also, listen guys, this is interesting opportunity for me to enjoy this painting with different tonality. I really do like it now because now those tiny spots of the paint, the dry paint, that's what I'm talking about, become way more pronounced for me to work with. Mm-hmm. I'm really supporting myself now with this. So it feels more like a catch me if you can situation for a moment. slightly, I have the satisfaction that my paint is too much white in it. But the power of paint is in the fact that, again, you can touch it again. Hey, I think we're getting really close to my finish line with this painting. Why? Because I'm starting debating some of my moves, which allows me to judge my finishing point at this moment. I don't want everything to flow like so nicely. I don't want to be painting about graphical representation. Not at this bit. This painting is more like more mystical way to find hidden realm. Okay, what I'm going to do now is use my fingers to break some paint on the painting. Make some surfaces a little bit more flat. This kind of like paint that I did in the concept when I was smaller allowed me to lift like the sand of those dunes at certain parts, you know? That's like, it's something that you cannot do with the brush. Yes, it's something that requires different tool. You know, I'm starting to feel it. I'm like a current of energy that don't have an end, you know? They like dissolve from one shape into the other. Hallelujah. Sometimes it could be that you're gonna do the painting and you think it's done, but it's not done. You want to add something to it, or fuck it up, which happens also. I know I told you that it doesn't matter, but you don't want to also treat that frame as an abandoned space. Like you cannot ignore. It's the curse of artists. You cannot ignore things. Just take them. Take them. sulfur laughter. Okay. Okay. A little bit more. Silence. Silence is the language of focus. What I'm doing right now, you might think it's not obvious, but I'm actually working with my intuition. I'm trying to add a more saturated, slightly different levels of the colors because I'm not working with much contrast. So if I'm not working with much contrast, I at least wanted to have a visual interest in form of the coloristic vocabulary of that painting. If I squint your eyes sometimes, you can see there's a problem in terms of the tonality. Like there's as much as a light is needed, as much as darkness is called upon. Don't worry. It's all about finding a discourse between tones. Okay. Very good.